Millions of Americans will rely on the Postal Service to deliver their ballot this year. On Monday, House Democrats grilled Postmaster General Louis DeJoy over recent changes to the USPS that have slowed mail delivery. They also expressed anxiety about its ability to handle mail-in ballots. It came just days after lawmakers on the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee raised similar concerns. Senator Gary Peters is the ranking member on that committee. He's running for re-election in Michigan this November and joins us from Bloomfield Township, Michigan. Senator Peters, welcome to Red and Blue.
Well, great to be with you. Thank you so much.
So, Senator, you opened an investigation into delays at the Postal Service earlier this month. Did you get any of the answers you were looking for last week?
Well, we got some answers, but we also have more questions, and there aren't answers to those questions. So we need to continue to follow the facts. The reason that I opened this investigation through my committee was just the unprecedented number of complaints that were coming into my office from folks all across Michigan who are experiencing unusual delays in mail and didn't know what was going on. I talked to postal officials as well as the workers who are doing the work every day, our postal workers, our mail handlers, our letter carriers. And they also told me that new procedures put in place by the new Postmaster General was having the effect of delaying the mail. And so we needed to get answers. He came before the committee, provided some of those answers. But I think the thing that we want to know most of all right now is why were these procedures put in place, which clearly have been delaying the mail? What sort of data went into making those decisions? What sort of analysis? He could not provide any verbal answers to those answers. I have asked for documents. We asked for them by Sunday. He said he can't deliver them by Sunday. Still has been dragging his feet. And we're not asking him to produce new documents. We're asking him just to provide information that you certainly would have hoped that a Postmaster General would have reviewed before putting in sweeping procedural changes that have ultimately led to significant slowdown in the delivery of mail.
So what's the situation right now, Senator? Are you still getting complaints about mail delays in your state?
We are still getting complaints, although the Postmaster General has told us that he is going to delay the implementation of some of those policies through the election. Although there's still some ambiguity as to what exactly is being delayed. When asked about sorters, there was real concern, and I heard that concern again directly from a union president in Grand Rapids this week, that those sorters are necessary for dealing with a surge of mail, and they've been removed. The Postmaster General said clearly they aren't going to put any back between now and the election. And in fact, apparently there's a sorter in that postal facility in the west side of Michigan that was turned off, was ready to be removed. It's staying in place because of the order, but they have been told it's not going to get plugged in. It's not going to, they were starting to take it apart and they're going to leave it, but it's not operable as well. So these are real concerns that we have as to how prepared the Postal Service will be with the expected surge of mail related to absentee ballots being sent out and will be returned in Michigan.
So that was going to be my question. With that expected surge coming with vote by mail, realistically, what are you thinking you'll be looking at in your state in particular with the Postal Service's preparedness and readiness to handle the influx of ballots?
Well, I think that the test is now, and although I've mentioned the election, and that's certainly very important, the delivery of mail on time is important every single day for folks all across my state and across the country. And that's what has concerned me now, is the fact that we are hearing repeated complaints about prescription drugs, which are sent through the mail that are not coming in time. I told a story from a mother who had contacted my office and talked about delay in medicine for her daughter who needed epilepsy medicine. It did not come in the normal 3 days. It didn't come after several more days. They were concerned. It ended up taking 9 days to get to her. But in that process, her daughter became fearful that she wouldn't have medicine, so she started to ration her dosage. And certainly that's always a problem, and it was for her. She ended up having a seizure and was hospitalized. And I've heard countless stories like that as a result of slow delivery of prescription drugs. But when you think about the necessity of mail being delivered on time, that means paychecks, it means benefit checks, it means the ability to pay bills on time. Small businesses need to have the opportunity to and the confidence to know that when they drop mail to their customers, it's going to get there on time. So we have to see immediate improvements now. as those improvements occur. I'm confident if these procedures are put on hold and they can do the work, the Postal Service can do the work they were doing prior to this, they'll be able to handle the surge. They've handled surges at the holidays, at Mother's Day, other times where you see a big surge of mail. They can do it, but certainly these harmful policies shouldn't be moving further while we're looking at an election. And quite frankly, we should be putting these on hold till we get through the pandemic. And then we can start looking at these new procedures to see whether or not they do indeed increase efficiency in the long run.
I want to turn to your re-election bid. You're in a competitive contest. You and your opponent, Republican John James, have agreed to do debates, but not the same ones. Both of your campaigns have reportedly committed to ones on different television stations. So, Senator, if you cannot come to a compromise, is there a possibility that you won't debate at all?
Well, I certainly want to debate. I'm excited to debate. In fact, I've agreed to debates well over a month ago. We haven't heard a word from Mr. James. The debates that I've agreed to are similar with public broadcasting, similar to what other Senate races have been over the years. Traditionally, there's one on the west side of the state with the public broadcasting system there, which goes statewide. So there's a statewide audience. Same for Detroit. I've agreed for well over a month to do these debates. Let's do them. I don't want to debate on the debates. Unfortunately, my opponent would rather have a debate on debates rather than on the issues because, quite frankly, he knows he's wrong on the issues. And so he's trying to distract from what has to really be done.
And what do you think are the most pressing issues for Michiganders right now?
Well, clearly the most pressing one is to get through this COVID crisis. As we are dealing with a simultaneous public health crisis and an economic crisis, we need to be focused on that. That's what I've been focused day in and day out. I'm the ranking Democrat on Homeland Security and Government Affairs, which means I oversee FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management folks, overseeing the COVID response, making sure that there's personal protection equipment, testing supplies, make sure we have supply chains intact to be able to deal with this crisis, make sure resources are available for testing. That's been my focus. And then we have to take a look at making sure the economy recovers. And that's why I focused on supporting small businesses that have to get through this crisis. We aren't going to be able to restart an economy as quickly as any of us would like if our small businesses don't survive. They need to be there to be able to hire folks and to move the economy forward. That's why we're focused on that, as well as making sure families that we continue to see incredibly high levels of unemployment here in Michigan and other places around the country. We need to make sure that there are opportunities for them to get back to work as soon as possible. And that's my total focus. It has been since the beginning of this crisis, even before when I put out a report concerned about supply chains and how unprepared this country was for a pandemic. We have to make sure that we're focused on getting this country back on its feet as quickly as possible.
As you know, it is an incredibly divisive time in our country. What do you think the role is that you and your party can play in helping to bring the country together?
Well, we have to bring it together. It's something that I have always focused on. In fact, I'm ranked recently by Georgetown University that ranks all members of Congress based on our bipartisanship. I'm ranked the third most bipartisan Democrat in the U.S. Senate. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce just recently awarded me their Jefferson Hamilton Award for bipartisanship. I believe the best solutions are those that we come
How do you do that now, though, with the climate that we're in, Senator? Sorry to interrupt, but how do you do that with the climate that we're in right now?
Well, we have to work to do it. That award I just received just a few weeks ago, and I continue to be bipartisan now. In this session of Congress, I have passed more bills than any other senator, whether Democratic or Republican, through the Senate. And it's about working together and finding that common ground. It's something I have always done, will continue to do. And we've been successful as recently as our last time in session. So we have to show that kind of leadership as members of the Senate. It's not about talking about it, it's about actually doing it. That's my focus, and I would certainly will continue to work with my colleagues to make that a reality.
Senator Gary Peters of Michigan. Senator, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Great to be with you. Thank you.